all day. Overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Is Richmond Raceway America's longest short track or its shortest super speedway? Either way you look at it, Richmond embodies the characteristics of both and is a rocket-fast challenge to every driver who competes on the 3/4 mile oval. Racers from the Craftsman Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the NASCAR Cup Series find that Richmond requires both power and handling. To win here, you've got to have it all. Richmond Raceway started out as a half-mile dirt track on the Richmond Fairgrounds, first hosting races in 1953 under the name Strawberry Hill Speedway. 68 years and 4 track configurations later, there are 51,000-plus grandstand seats, 40 luxury suites, and since 1991, many events have been held in the evening under the lights. Tonight, it's race number 7 of the Noble Racing Series, and it's next on HPR TV.
Milk and welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an whole.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Richmond Raceway for race number 7 of the Noble Racing Series. Coming up here tonight, 150 laps the race distance, 75-degree ambient temperature, 57% humidity, cloudy skies, 8-mile-per-hour breeze, track temp 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's see the fuel percentage tonight, 75%, and 2 sets of tires available over the wall. Practice just about wrapped up here from the speedway. Let's go down trackside, see where everybody is lined up. Zach Millett fastest thus far at 22:01. He's picked that time up here. We saw a 22:06 earlier on. We talked to Zach prior to going live here, and he had said that a 21 was possible, but you about have to be perfect. We'll see if that comes to fruition here before tonight is over with. Keaton Burnett sending some love in the chat already. Just saying hello, I guess. How you doing, Keaton? You racing tonight? Yes, he is. On the entry list is the 26 of Keaton Burnett. Zach Millett fastest with a 22:01. Brandon Mefford second quick, 22:11. Brian McCann, Drew Blaze, and the 39 of Michael Tucker up in the top 5. Will Hewitt matching that time or close to it to 22:22. Chris Mefford at 23. Vincent Short at 25. Prohl also a 25, and Alan DeFries rounding out the top 10 with a 22:28. Doug Wysocki and Brandon Mefford. A little bit of race practice effectively going on here. This is certainly not anything you'd see if you're trying to set up a bonsai qualifying run. See Mefford ahead of Wysocki, just behind Joe Tucker. Tucker family in a stream chat. Go Joe and Michael. Drew Prell real loose out of turn 2 there. Joe Tucker almost dumping him just for the fun of it. Again, it's practice, and we don't need to worry about actually fixing these cars. Prell up in the fence off of 4. Millett picks up a little bit more. It's a 22 flat. Just needed that extra 100th of a second to get into the 21s, and he may have. Might just translate to the decimal place. No, 22.001 was the lap for Zach Millett. We're going to jump right into qualifying here, see who takes to the track first. Looks like Keaton Burnett's going to be the first to roll. Keaton, the number 26. Green flag for Keaton Burnett, lap 1 of 2, 10-minute session. Lap 1 in the books for Keaton Burnett, 22.475. Ken Couch across the line at 23.010. Mike Fahey in the field tonight, the number 19. I think he's got Statesman Coffee Company on board that Ford Mustang. 22.49 for Fahey on his first lap. Meanwhile, Ken Couch goes to the point, 22.40. Mike Tucker was quick in practice. We'll see what the number 39 out of Cumberland Furnace, Tennessee can do. Tucker right up against the safer barrier, all the way down the front stretch here. Looks pretty solid. Can he keep it together off of 2? Yep. Doesn't step out, keeps it straight. First lap for Mike Tucker in the books, 22.178, puts it on the provisional pole. We'll jump over to Zach Millett, fastest in the practice session, ran a 22 flat. Unofficial session was able to drop into a 21. We'll see if he can do that here in qualifying. Millett across the stripe. 22.74. Lap 2 is going to be quicker, I think. Millett 8th quick for now. At the line, Millett goes P1, 21.989. He does improve from the practice session when the pressure is on. Millett to P1. Joe Tucker on the track here. Brandon Mefford second quick at a 22.11. Mike Tucker third, 22.17. Tucker into 3 and 4. Joe, that is, off corner number 4 at the stripe. And still no lap time for Joe Tucker. Not sure the scenario there, why that happened, but let's check Brian McCann. Expecting a quick time out of him. 9th quick on his first lap, 22.651 for the 3. At the line, Brian McCann, where does he land? Second quick, 21.992 for the 3 of McCann. He picked it up as well, but not enough to knock Millett off the pole. Vincent Short, 9th quick on his first lap, 22:47. Was happy with his car in the long run in practice. We'll see what he can get here in the short term here in qualifying. Sixth quick, 22:362. I think it's right where he was in the practice session as well. Drew Prowl, the number 80 Kodiak Ice Monte Carlo. Five minutes into this 10-minute qualifying session. Real loose on a 4. See if he picks up, and he does a little, 22:380. Mefford finishing up. Chris, that is, 22:425, 9th fast. About 9 drivers out there have not taken a time. Joe Tucker was out. He did run 2 laps. Didn't register an official time. Not sure the situation there, but Will Hewitt on the track here. He's going to start his qualifying. Hewitt out of turn number 4 at the line. 22:41 puts him into the top 10. We'll see if Hewitt can pick it up here, but in the meantime, we'll check on Chris Goins. Chris Goins, number 41, Popple Pro Dodge. First lap, 22.5 for Chris Goins. Will Hewitt, meanwhile, jumps to P5 on the board. Real loose out of 2 for Goins. That's going to kill this lap, I think. Second lap for Goins. It was quicker still. 47 puts him 13th. And we sit in limbo with 1, 2, 3, 5 cars still not to take a time here in the session. With that, we're going to step aside here. In fact, no, we're going to take this opportunity to remember a very integral person to the sport of NASCAR auto racing, Ken Squire, losing his life on Wednesday evening. The voice of NASCAR, many would call him. Certainly a very significant influence to my broadcasting career, so to speak, here at HBR TV. But we remember him. We thank him for doing all that he did in making NASCAR what it is today. So with that, this is for Ken.
Ken Squire always described racing as common people doing uncommon deeds.
But it was Squire's dulcet tones and indelible descriptions that ensured NASCAR's best moments were remembered with reverence.
We're here at Brooklyn, Michigan this afternoon. I'm Ken Squire.
When future historians write about the wonders of the world, save at least one chapter for this.
From his family's humble beginnings at Radio Free Vermont nearly a century ago, Squire began calling sprint car and midget races in the back of a lumber truck as a teenager. By 25, he had helped build the famous Thunder Road International Speed Bowl that remains his native state's racing showplace, with its famous Milk Bowl event featured every fall.
Squire's eyes turned southward, and he headed to Daytona Beach to become one of Bill France's missionaries, spreading the gospel of stock car racing, starting as a track announcer at Daytona International Speedway. But Squire's calling was broadcasting. After co-founding the Motor Racing Network in 1970, Squire spearheaded NASCAR's first nationally televised race from Greenville, South Carolina in 1971 on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
There is Victory Lane. Ken Squire is down there. I can't see whether he has Bobby Isaac with him. Okay, Ken, go ahead.
Victory Lane, and it is a harmonious group around Bobby Isaac.
8 years later on CBS, he handled play-by-play for the first live flag-to-flag Daytona 500, which included the first ever in-car camera. that Squire helped champion.
Into turn 3 and 4 at over 195 miles an hour. You're riding with Benny Parsons.
But what many remember is the greatest finish in NASCAR history. It was punctuated by Squire's call. And there's a fight.
And there's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing.
His voice was a soundtrack to many momentous events in NASCAR. Whether Petty versus Pearson,
As they come to the stripe, the winner is car number 21.
or the first victory by Jeff Gordon in the 1994 Coca-Cola 600.
And it is Jeff Gordon victorious on this Memorial Weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And in 1998, interviewing Dale Earnhardt Sr. in his greatest moment.
2 decades he's waited for this moment, and it's here. How about that ride?
How about it?
Squire coined the Great American Race
The Great American Race, the Daytona 500.
in the Alabama game.
The Alabama game.
But it was his contextualization that made the sport so fun and relatable to every fan.
And look at that Oklahoma land rush back there. Slingshot. 2 of the greatest fiddling here, fidgeting with first place.
When he returned in 2015 at Darlington Raceway with my dad and myself, Squire still had it.
At the cradle of American superspeedway racing, Darlington, South Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a race.
It's that salesmanship that put Squire in the Hall of Fame twice, including a media award annually given in his and Barney Hall's honor.
And now they've added a storyteller. And believe me, I can tell some stories.
The voice of NASCAR may be gone, but his words will resonate forever.
Just don't know where that baby of mine. Well, I just don't know. Have mercy,
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Richmond Raceway, let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 21.989 seconds, it's the 315 of Zach Millen. Outside front row, it's Brian McCann, missed it by 2 1/1000ths of a second. In the number 3, he'll start second. Brandon Mefford, the number 83 from Charity Motorsports, he'll start third. Mike Tucker in the 39 will start fourth. Fifth starter is going to be Will Hewitt. Starting 6th will be Mike Fahey. Vincent Short starting 7th. Drew Prale will roll from the 8th position. Starting 9th, Ken Couch. 10th goes to Chris Mefford. Alan DeFries will roll from the 11th position. Keaton Burnett, the number 26, will start 12th. Chris Goins 13th. Matt Sisler will roll 14th. Larry Bruner starts in the 15th spot. Eddie Rose 16th. Drew Blaze starting from the 17th position. 18th goes to Neil Quick. Mark Truxell in the 5 will start 19th. Joe Tucker 20th. Doug Wysocki 21st. Jesse Renning 22nd. And last but not least, the 22 of Matt Kopp will start 23rd. It's your starting grid here from Richmond Raceway. We're going to be going green after a couple of corners. Don't go anywhere.
Green flag.
Green flag is in the air. It waves, and we're racing from Richmond. In the book, Zach Millett still with the race lead. Brian McCann hot on his trail, a car length behind the 315 out of turn 2. Little wiggle out of the 3, little loose, little over rotation for Brian McCann. Still stays with it into the 2nd position behind Zach Millett. Millett still out in front, a car length and a half back to Brian McCann. Top 7 all in a row here into turns 3 and 4. The battle here for the 3rd spot. Brandon Mefford with it. Michael Tucker applying pressure. Little wiggle for McCann, had to lift off the throttle out of 2. Mefford, that is, not McCann. Mefford putting a little bit of distance on Mike Tucker into turns 1 and 2. Tucker closes the gap on entry, but it looks like Mefford's backing up his corner. He drives away from the 39 down the straightaway. Coming to 7 laps. Millett with a lead still. Car length to Brian McCann. McCann's right there with him. Last lap for the top 2 within 1/100th of a second. Millett just that 1 click faster. Got Allison and Tay Rose in the chat cheering on the Tucker boys. Real gentle on the throttle. You hear Millett just kind of burping the throttle out of turn 4. Let's see if he does the same out of 2. McCann right there. I think Brian might have the pace. I know right now Millett's still a couple hundredths faster than McCann, but that's not a huge deficit. And in all reality, it could just be the fact that McCann's trailing the 315 for the time being. watching the 3 right now, it does appear that if he can get by, I think McCann might be able to put some distance on the 315 unless Zach's just taking care of his stuff, which very well could be the case. Got a 75% fuel load here tonight, 2 sets of tires over the wall. That is not a lot of tire. It's Michael Tucker really loose out of the corner. Keeps her straight, though, down into turns 3 and 4. Watching the battle further back in the pack, Joe and Jesse Redding. Joe Tucker and Jesse Redding, that is. Redding in the 21, Tucker in the 13. Larry Bruner slides up the racetrack, lets these drivers go on by, gives up a few spots here. Actually, Wysocki's going to go on by too. Matt Kopp pressuring. He's going to try and take the spot. Bruner dropping back, down 7 positions from the start of the race already. Larry Bruner has slipped back to the last place position. In fact, he's coming to pit lane. Larry Bruner very early to pit road here. Lap 14, the 35 on pit road. Little bit of right front fender damage, but it's not pushed in on the tire. He should be okay. Not sure what the situation here is with Larry Bruner, but he's down pit road anyway. Bruner very gingerly pulling into the pit box. And very interesting, he's going to take tires here. Really not sure the strategy play here. I know you could be trying to work the race completely backwards, but he's been here for a little bit already. It's 20 seconds in and went right sides only. And yet he still sits in pit lane. So we'll go back to the action on track. Millett still out in front. Still with just a car length ahead of Brian McCann. It's 3/10 on the tower. And again, last lap they ran identical lap times. This time they ran almost the same, within 100th of a second of each other. Brandon Mefford third quick at 22.91. Starting to close the gap slightly on the top 2. All 3 of these drivers really. Millett, McCann, and Mefford starting to run away from the rest of the field. Mike Tucker back in the 4th position. Will Hewitt running in the 5th spot. Interestingly enough, the top 8 drivers all running exactly where they started the race on. 18 laps in, no passes made within the top 8. Chris Mefford only up 1 spot into 9th. Now 2 into the 8th position. Takes that away from Drew Prowl. Tonight's stage coming at lap 55. Keep that in mind as we approach it here. We're lap 20. We got some time before we have to worry too much about it. There were no penalties this week to deal with. That's a relief. Meanwhile, Vincent Short applying pressure to Chris Mefford. Short running in the 8th position. And Short started 7th. Drew Prowl scrapes the right side of the safer barrier. Entry to turn 3 continues on. Prowl trying to look to the inside of Vincent Short here for position. Exit at turn 2. Prowl's alongside, but no, tucks back in behind. Maybe some contact. Jams on the binders there, trying to avoid making it worse. Vincent Short slides up out of 3 and 4 here just a bit. Prowl really cut Vincent a break there. More aggressive driver certainly would not have given him an inch there, and I think both drivers would have ended up in the fence, if not at least one. Chris Goins coming into the fray here. He's now behind Vincent Short. Right on board the roof cam with Chris Goins as he works around the outside to Drew Prail, in behind Vincent Short. Prail loses the spot to Goins. Goins putting pressure on Vince Short here. He may be able to take the spot here shortly. No pun intended. So you go to the driver's eye cam here at Richmond. On board again still with Chris Goins. Got 5 different onboard cameras in this race car. Gets to the inside of Vincent Short. Short's going to power back around using the momentum from the high side. Giving you a real good perspective here of the driver's seat in this Gen 4 Cup car. And Chris Goins effectively taking the spot away. Prail trying to do the same here. He's alongside with a nose out in front. Gets clear, Short down into turn number 1. Alan DeFries is going to try and take advantage as well. He gets to the inside off turn 2. Short losing a few spots here. He was in 8th just a couple of laps ago. Back in the 11th spot now, trying to battle back around DeFries. Ken Couch now taking advantage. He comes to the inside. Again, we talked to these guys pre-race, and Vincent Short's comments was he felt that he'd be stronger on the long run, but here we are 28 laps in. The stage coming at 55, but the caution is out. We'll go back to that story in just a moment. Mark Truxell facing the wrong direction on the track. Gets her turned around. A little bit of damage to the 5 of that Little Tate's Cupcakes Chevrolet. See what happened here to the 5. Drew Blaze was in behind. Oh, down the straightaway too. Sends the 5 into the inside wall. Not severe contact, but it was made nonetheless. I'm going to watch this from the onboard with Drew Blaze. We'll slow it down here. Roof cam from the 1, which is the trailing car behind Mark Truxell. Looks like this was out of turn 2. Truthfully, it was on the straightaway. At least that's how it looked from the first view. We'll get a better idea here from the roof cam of Drew Blaze. Again, at quarter speed. Off turn 2. Blaze just got a whale of a run. And I don't know if Mark still had some left wheel into it or not, but he went around in a hurry just as soon as there was contact made. I want to back it up and watch this at full speed. I'm not really sure what happened there. There was definitely contact, that's obvious, but both drivers should be wide open right there, and I just can't figure out what the issue was. Truxell in the pits. He'll get things squared away here, but Millett still with the race lead, 31 laps in. First caution of the night. Those of you that may have joined the broadcast slightly late, prior to the green flag, or after the green flag for that matter, we did a tribute here for Ken Squire, courtesy, I think it was from NBC Sports. They put the video out. We just aired it here at HBR TV. We will run that again post-interviews after the race tonight. So if you missed it early on, we'll play it one more time just so you can watch that, enjoy that. Again, thinking about Ken Squire and his family here this Sunday evening after losing him last Wednesday. Ken was 88 years old, lived a very, very long life. But nevertheless, no one's ever ready to let him go. So 33 laps in. Zach Millett, your race leader. We got another lap to go here before we get the 1 to go. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this. And it looks like Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short... Back at Richmond Raceway, the pace truck hits pit road, and we're getting ready for another restart.
Green flag.
Green flag is in the air. Millett with the jump. For the race lead, McCann around the outside. Millett back to P2. Brian McCann to the race lead here. Lap 36 takes it over. We'll have to see if McCann can drive away. It seemed that he was capable of it if he were able to get around prior to that caution coming out. Now quickly on the restart, McCann gets around Zach Millett, takes that spot away, has a 2, maybe 3 tenths of a second advantage over Millett. Quarter second, let's go with that. Now it's 3/10 at the stripe. We'll see if McCann can start to stretch it out over the 315, and in fact he does down into turn 1. 4/10 the advantage for the 3. Battle for position back in the pack here. Vince Short, Matt Sisler. Sisler taking it away. Short back to P12. Sisler, the only Kia in the field. How's that make everybody feel, losing to a Kia? Just curious. Meanwhile, Vincent Short, now he's got Drew Blaze to his inside. Blaze, the number 1 machine. Blaze involved in that first caution with some contact with Mark Truxell. Truxell running back in the 21st position, still on the lead lap. Real quick to the inside is Short as well. Oh, contact again. Vincent Short gets in the back of Drew Blaze. Blaze hangs on to it. Now he dumps back down the low lane in front of Neil Quick. Blaze just going to try and drive away here as he gets the right side in the fence, though, out of turn number 2. Keeps his foot in it. Neil Quick takes the spot from Short. Now Short back to 14th. Vincent's kind of free-falling here. He started in the 7th position. He's lost half of that. Back in the 15th position now that Ken Couch is alongside. At the stripe, I think Vince is going to hang on at least for one more lap, but Couch working the bottom lane. Just kind of wonder, in this case, is Vince trying to save his stuff here for the long term? Again, at this point, there's really no purpose to do that. We got a caution that's going to be planned here at lap 55. That's going to be our stage break. May anticipate just about everybody taking tires, or maybe not. Again, 2 sets of tires for the remaining 90 or so laps, I guess you could say, once we go back green flag racing. Curious to see who takes tires, who doesn't, if everybody's on the same strategy or not. Short now back in the 15th position, and he's got Jesse Redding knocking on the door. So is Joe Tucker. Redding up top in that black and green number 21. Burnett having trouble getting the power down out of turn 2. Again, keeps it straight down the road, but a little wiggle out of the corner. Short maintaining the 15th position. Looked like Vince dropped it down to the low side to block the run from the 21 of Redding. And slips back up the racetrack. Now not enough room to throw the block, but Jesse tucks back in behind. Loses connection there for a moment. Now he's back in. Nothing's changed up front. Brian McCann still your leader over Zach Millett. Brandon Mefford, Chris Mefford, and Michael Tucker in the top 5. Joe Tucker makes his way around Jesse Redding. Now Joe is on the back bumper of Vincent Short. You know, Joe certainly not shy about being aggressive. On to turn 4 here. He's going to swing it up the racetrack. Carries some momentum down into turn 1. Maybe he'll go around Short on the high side. He is alongside in 1 and 2. He's going to have another run on the exit. Should have him clear by 3-4. In fact, entry to 3. Joe Tucker takes the spot. Move Vincent Short back to 16th, still into the clutches of Jesse Redding. One-third distance here at Richmond Raceway. Keaton Burnett having some trouble hanging out of that car. It was loose again out of turn number 2, but he maintains his position right behind Jesse Redding. Not even a half car length off the 21. In fact, Keaton was about a half-tenth quicker than Jesse that last lap. Might be why Jesse wants to get around Vincent Short, because he knows the 26 is coming. McCann still your race leader over Zach Millett as we approach the stage break here. Again, the completion of lap 55. Really loose for Keaton Burnett again, trying to put the power down off of 4. Redding loose as well, this time off of 2. It's going to open the door for Keaton Burnett. Burnett down to the bottom of the racetrack into turn 3. Gets alongside Jesse Redding. This is for position. Side by side, they run back to start finish. And the caution is out. Chris Goins involved in this one. Michael Tucker, Will Hewitt involved. Everybody trying to get squared away. Eddie Rose coming through at speed. You got to be careful there, 88. Well, let's go back and take a look at it. See what happened here with Chris Goins, Michael Tucker, and Will Hewitt. Goins just runs in the back of the 33, and it's a chain reaction crash after that. Sisler gets a piece of it as well, so really a 4-car incident. So, first caution, second caution of the night. This is actually going to end up being our stage break, because we'll certainly surpass that 55 lap mark here within this caution. So, a little bit early, a little bit unplanned, but Drivers in their pit boxes here. Brian McCann, right sides go in the air. Same for Zach Millett. Drops the jack and down he goes. Zach Millett the same, but Brian McCann, your stage winner, exits pit lane here in a hurry. 4 tires and fuel. So with that, we're going to try and get a word with our stage winner, Brian McCann at Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Hey, I do. How's it going?
Brian, congratulations winning the stage here. Again, a little bit early here with that caution coming out. You've got some pace here tonight at Richmond Raceway. I know we talked a little bit last week. How do you feel about the rest of this thing? We're just about past a third distance. You got a shot at winning this thing tonight?
Maybe the track changes a whole lot when I see the sun going down, so I'm not really sure how the track's going to be at the end of the race, but I'm feeling pretty good right now, so hopefully that continues on.
Looking good. Millett had the pace early on, but on the restart you took it over. I thought you might have had the pace to really stretch it out. Is he being able to stay with you, or are you saving a bit?
No, he's staying with me, so I think we're about even. Looks like Brandon's there too, and I just saw Chris come up behind us, so I think it's anybody's race in the top 5 here.
All right, Brandon. Well, congratulations on the stage win. Good luck the rest of the way, man.
Thank you.
It's Brian McCann, your stage winner here from Richmond Raceway. With that, we're going to step aside quickly, get a break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Richmond Raceway, ready for another restart. Second caution of the day. It's our stage, but for an incident as well. The green flag back in the air. A huge restart for Brian McCann as he gets away from Zach Millett. And Brandon Mefford to the inside of the 315 into turns 1 and 2. Millett powers back around on the outside. Mefford tucking in behind. Millett with a run back down into turn number 3. Closes the gap considerably on Brian McCann. .60 laps in. Brian McCann still out in front. And we got a car off. Doug Wysocki in trouble. Single car incident off turn number 2. Pounds the inside wall and continues on. We stay under the green flag. See if Doug stays out on the racetrack. He does. We stay under green. We'll take a look here what happened with the 34. Just a moment ago, this was an incident coming out of turn number 2. He just loses it on his own. There was no contact involved there, just over-rotated. Pretty big smack there to the inside wall. It's back out front, the top 2, McCann and Millett. Quarter second between the 2 of them. See, that's the thing here. McCann said, oh, me and Zach are pretty equal, it seems. Even Mefford there. Well, that makes it really difficult to make those passes. Even if these top 2 guys are within a 10th or even a 100th, really, of each other, it makes it extremely difficult, without a mistake, to complete that pass. You might be able to open the door and get alongside a guy, But you're going to need a pretty significant mistake when you're that close lap time-wise between the guy that you're trying to pass. McCann was a 22.35 the last lap. Millett was a 40. This time by, though, Millett a 40 again. Correction, no, 43 to McCann's 44. Again, it's a very, very tight lap time differential between these two. The delta is just very, very small. We're looking at it in hundredths of a second every single lap. Millett's got to change up things here, try and find a way around, maybe change his line, find something. Both of these drivers, though, awfully fast here at Richmond Raceway. Brandon Mefford back in the third spot. I want to hear from you guys out in the stream chat. Started off nice. We had a bunch of you guys right away. I know some of you were driving, but don't be shy. Stream chat's open for a reason. Just keep it PG for the kids. I love making you guys part of the broadcast. It really helps me, and it's, I don't know, I think it's fun if you ask me. Chris Mefford back in the fourth position, just ahead of the 19 of Mike Fahey. Fahey with a Statesman Coffee Company Mustang. Try to catch some other battles here on the racetrack. Drew Blaze running back in the 19th position, still on the lead lap. Vincent Short, meanwhile, he slipped back to the 16th position in behind Neil Quick, ahead of Joe Tucker still. Tucker working on the 15 off at turn number 4, gets to the inside. Just like that, gets clear, down into 1. Tucker up into the 16th spot, Short back to P17. Tucker looking for more. Gets alongside Neil Quick off turn number 2. Back out front, McCann still leads a 10.5 over Zach Millett. Millett closing the gap, might have found something. Looking to the outside as we're 5 laps shy of halfway. Millett right there. McCann doing a great job just pointing the nose of that race car on corner exit so he can get the power down nice and clean. McCann making his own adjustments here as he puts 3.5 tenths on Millett. Once again, it doesn't look like much, but it was just a 10.5 a couple of laps ago. Now it's extended here. 3.5 tenths back to Zach Millett. Then Brandon Mefford running back in the third position. He's about 6 or 7 tenths off the back bumper of Zach Millett in the third spot. Chris Mefford back in fourth, still ahead of Mike Fahey. Alan DeFries in sixth. Mike Tucker right to the back bumper into turn number 1. I don't know if there was contact or not, but if there wasn't, nicely done by the 39. Gets alongside into turn number 3. Tucker and DeFries battling for the position. This would be for 6th. Still this battle continuing down into turns 1 and 2. Tucker to the bottom. DeFries up top trying to pinch him down. Maybe some contact on exit. It was awful close if not. And Tucker finally gets clear, so move Mike Tucker into the 6th spot. "76 laps in, we're just past halfway here from Richmond Raceway. We're going to take an HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Richmond Raceway, 86 laps in of 150. Brian McCann still out in front over Zach Millett. Just under half a second the advantage to the 315. Out of turn number 2, McCann still out in front. Just putting a lap on Eddie Rose and Drew Blaze here just a moment ago. Blaze, the first car, 1 lap down. Top 3 unchanged. It's McCann, Millett, and Mefford. And, well, Mefford. Chris Mefford, that is, back in P4. Mike Tucker still hanging top in the 5th spot. Mike Fahey in P6. Alan DeFries up 4 spots in P7. Drew Prowl running where he started in 8th. Ken Couch the same in 9th. Chris Goins running in 10th, started 13th. Goins tank slaps the wall a bit down the back straightaway, keeps it going. He's got a bit of right rear damage and a little bit of nose damage on that 41. Very center of the nose of that race car punched in pretty good, like he got into somebody. Goins has got Matt Sisler to the back window of the number 41. Will Hewitt back in the 12th spot, knocking on the door, Matt Sisler here. About a car length and a half off the 93, down into turn 1, takes a look to the bottom. Sisler slams the door. Will Hewitt gets a piece of the wall on exit as well. These guys are getting up in that outside wall because they're trying to have the most wide entry they possibly can, cut down to the bottom of the racetrack, straighten that corner out as much as possible. The problem is you get a little too close to the outside wall, you're going to hit it at some point. Hewitt to the inside. Hewitt might be able to get down low on Sisler here, but Ken Couch is going to be the roadblock ahead of him. Sisler may take that spot away from the 08, get himself into the top 10 as Sisler is in the fence. Getting into the corner here, that's going to open the door for Hewitt, but he stays in the throttle. Still some right front damage on the number 93, and he's back in the fence again. Evasive action here to try to avoid contact with Ken Couch. Sisler still to the outside. Sisler around Couch, almost contact between the 93 and the 1. 93 and the 08, I don't know why I said 1. Real loose on exit for Sisler. Couch, Will Hewitt drops it down to the bottom of the racetrack as well. He's going to take advantage, or try to at least. Can't get the power down out of 4. Now he's got Joe Tucker attacking the 33. This now the battle for the 12th position. Hewitt maintains it. Drew Blaze coming through here with authority. I don't know if he made a recent pit stop. In fact, he did. Lap 89, he took tires, 4 tires that is. He is on the charge. He's going to go around the outside like it's nothing. Shows you the difference in fresh tires versus new. Drew Blaze just powers around all 4 of these cars like they're standing still. Last lap for Drew Blaze at 22.92. The leader, Brian McCann, running in 23.59. Meanwhile, through all those battles we were watching, Brian McCann has stretched his advantage over Zach Millett to just shy of a full second. It's almost 9/10 here at lap 98. It's McCann, Millett, Brandon Mefford, Chris Mefford, and Michael Tucker, the top 5. Further back, we got Mike Fahey, Alan DeFries, Drew Prowl, Chris Goins, and Matt Sisler, your top 10. McCann every lap just digging into that advantage over Zach Millett. Now it's almost a full second. Last lap for McCann, a 23.47. Millett was a 23.48, so 315 still able to keep pace with Brian McCann, but nevertheless, a 10th here, a 100th there. McCann every single lap just a tick better than the 315 as he stretches it now to over a full second into turn number 1. "102 laps in here from Richmond Raceway. We're going to take our final HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us, folks. We will be back after this, and you won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Caution. Kind of walk me through a lap here, please.
Back at Richmond Raceway, Matt Sisler involved in our third caution of the night. And our 93 machine back in the 20th position right now. Damage not looking too severe on that UNOH Kia. Yes, it's a Kia. With that said, let's take a look, see what happened here, the 93 of Matt Sisler, as everybody's taking the opportunity to pit here. Looks like Matt just lost it on his own. Does a good job keeping it off the fence. Right side tire change for Zach Millett. Looks like he's going to go around here, make it 4 tires and fuel for the 315. Drops the jack, down he goes. Brian McCann stayed on the racetrack. Very interesting, and it looks like Millett got out before. We may have been seeing some green flag stops in the midst of all that. And they may have started to happen right as the caution came out, so it's kind of got everybody all jumbled up. Millett back to the point. Mefford shown as the second place machine, McCann in third. Now, McCann's pit stop came at lap 105, so that was just before the caution had come out. He was still able to stay out on the lead lap. That caution came out, it looks like it was lap 108, so 3 laps later. McCann actually, I gotta say, he was pretty lucky to have it happen the way that it did. Obviously, it's not ideal, but he's still in that 3rd position, stays on the lead lap. Didn't get trapped a lap down with that caution coming out when it did. But with all that, it's going to give Millett and Brandon Mefford a little bit fresher tires here, and I think Zach's going to need that if he's going to try and hold off the 3 of Brian McCann, even if it is only, if you really did the math on it as far as green flag laps are concerned, it might only be a couple of lap differential between the 2, but that might be all that Millett needs. You watch the lap times between the 315 and the 3 throughout the course of this race. As McCann drops it down to the apron of the racetrack, you might be having a problem. McCann stopped on the race course. Again, he was listed as the 3rd place machine at the time. I think we need to try and find out the scenario here with Brian McCann. Let's see if we can get a word with the driver of the 3. Brian, it's Steve with HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Hey, man, how's it going?
It's going good here. It looks like you got kind of caught with the caution coming out right after your pit stop, but I saw you park it there on the racetrack. What's going on?
I'm the lucky dog, so I got to start in the back.
Okay, so McCann's going to get the lucky dog. All right, well, it's not the end of the world. With that said, though, last car in the lead lap here, are you going to be able to run these guys down?
Probably not, but we're going to send it anyway.
Full send for the 3. Brian, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
So that settles it. That's the story from Brian McCann. He did essentially get caught, but was still awarded the lucky dog as he went a lap down. Wasn't involved in an incident, so he actually, you talk about lucky dog, that's what we call it. That really kind of sums it up. Lucky dog as the green flag comes back out. Zach Millett with the jump. He's got to hold off the Mefford and Mefford duo. No, I won't make my injury attorney joke. Mefford all over the back bumper, takes a look to the inside, might have been loose, but nevertheless, he still stays with Zach Millett into 3 and 4. A few feet off the back bumper, the 315, exiting turn number 4. Brandon Mefford right there. Mefford taking a look to the outside off turn 2, real loose on exit. Saves the race car, but gives up the track position. Now 2 car lengths, the advantage for Zach Millett. Zach's got to be wiping his brow here with the sweat pouring off his forehead. Has a little bit of breathing room back to the 83. It's about a half second to Brandon Mefford. Chris Mefford 3rd. Will Hewitt running in the 4th spot. Mike Fahey, a strong run here tonight up in 5th. Hewitt takes a look to the inside for the 3rd spot. Nothing doing there on the 46. Right on board with Will Hewitt. Little piece of the wall once again. That's been a routine occurrence for the 33 tonight. Top 3 drivers starting to put some distance on Will Hewitt. And the caution is out once again. Multiple drivers involved in this. Trying to catch who it might have been. Jesse Redding ending up down pit lane. Joe Tucker, a little bit of damage. Well, let's see what happened. Full speed here, we watch the 13. Oh, things are already happening here up ahead of them. Let's back it up. Let's unpack this a little bit more. Might have started with the 22 of Matt Kopp. We'll slow it down. Yeah, so Kopp was the inside of Drew Blaze into turn 3, and then chain reaction crash. Cop get to the inside of Drew Blaze. They both go around. Mike Tucker gets a piece of it. Matt Sisler just drives up underneath Joe Tucker. Jesse Redding taking pit lane here. Eddie Rose thought about it, but he's making the decision, went back on the racetrack. Looks like he was okay there to do so. Joe Tucker ends up facing the pit wall. So we reset it once again. Fourth caution of the night, lap 123. Incident occurring here, lap 119. So, Millett's going to have to hold off Brandon Mefford for yet another restart. Mefford was very fast, reeling in and putting the pressure on the 315. Got a little loose on corner exit, otherwise I think he might have had a shot at it. Now he's got another opportunity. See if Brandon Mefford can do anything with it. Pace car light's still on, so we should be getting the 1 to go signal this time by. Lap 125, so 126 we should get the restart. Top 10 is Zach Millett, Brandon Mefford, Chris Mefford, Will Hewitt, Mike Fahey, Drew Prowl, Keaton Burnett, Ken Couch, Vincent Short, and Michael Tucker. Vincent Short doing a good job working his way back into that top 10. He was as low as, I think, 17th or 18th position. Drew Blaze leaving pit lane. And pace truck lights are still ablaze. So not going to go green this time by. Should get the 1 to go now at 25 laps to go. And there you see it. The amber lights on the iRacing pace truck have been extinguished, so one more lap around, back to the starter stand for another green flag. This race underway here in just another moment. Zach Millett starting to the inside of Brandon Mefford. We'll see if the 83 can time the restart. Both drivers on equal footing as far as tires are concerned, both pitting at lap 111. Same for Chris Mefford, same for Will Hewitt. Really everybody back to the 9th spot, and Vincent Short pitting at the same time during our last caution. Pace truck down pit road. Barney with the green in hand. It waves, and we're back racing from Richmond Raceway. Chris Mefford takes a look to the inside on Zach Millett. Surprise! Millett looking at Brandon. He had to worry about brother Chris to the low side. Brandon didn't get a good restart, but out of turn number 2, Millett working the outside lane. Chris Mefford to the bottom. Still side by side into turn number 3. Back to start finish. Zach Millett leads the lap. Mefford not giving an inch, though, still to the inside. Down into turn number 1, middle of 1 and 2. Takes the spot. Crossover from Zach Millett all the way down the apron. Millett had to lift, I'm thinking, but man, he managed to make that stick. Gets back to the inside. Turn number 3 on Chris Mefford. Mefford now up the racetrack. Brandon Mefford in behind the 46. 22 laps to go. We got a battle for the race lead. Zach Millett to the bottom. Chris Mefford up top. Brandon Mefford running in the 3rd spot. Then it's Will Hewitt and Mike Fahey rounding out the top 5. Back to start finish. Little bit of contact between Millett and Chris Mefford. They all keep their foot in it. Down into turn number 1. Still side by side. Tell you, the way these guys are fighting it out, I'm going to put the winner going to be Brandon Mefford or Will Hewitt. If we stay under green, these guys are going to burn up their stuff if they're not careful. 21 now, 20 laps to go. Brandon Mefford with the lead here by just about a bumper's width. Millett still to the inside. Now Chris Mefford finally clear of the 3-1-5. Now Brandon Mefford applying pressure to the outside of Zach Millett. You're right on board with the 46 of Chris Mefford. Across the stripe, 18 laps to go. Mefford enjoying about 3-4 tenths over second place. I can't even call who it is. It's either Brandon Mefford or Zach Millett, depending on what foot of the racetrack you want to measure by. Mefford now with a half car length into 3. Millett drives it deep into turn 3. Down to the bottom of the racetrack, still side by side. I think this is going to be a detriment to Zach Millett. Millett trying everything he's got to try and stay out in front of these Mefford brothers. He's going to burn up these tires and get them a little too hot. That's a problem. You see laid a patch of rubber on a turn number 2 did Zach Millett. He's just going to heat these tires up. If I'm the 3-1-5 here, I got to either let the 83 go, cool my stuff off for a bit, and then make a charge at it, or just run my line and force the 83 to make the pass. Millett still there, and I think Mefford might have him clear. Not the case. Millett actually drives him down pretty deep into the 3 and 4 corner. Still side-by-side for position. Chris Mefford out in front with a 3.5 tenth advantage. It seems like these two, even side-by-side, are hanging okay with the 46. Then again, Chris might be saving his stuff, or at least cooling his tires down after the battle that he had with Zach Millett. Oh, a little wiggle for Zach Millett out of turn 2. It's going to get Brandon Mefford clear of the 3-1-5. Laps to go. Chris Mefford out in front. Millett mounting another charge on Brandon Mefford. Gets a little loose out of 4. I think Zach's in full send mode here, but that may not necessarily be a good thing for him. Tires starting to go away already for many of these drivers. Will Hewitt, I think, is in a great spot here in 4th, just waiting for something to happen with these top 3 drivers. Chris Mefford just on a Sunday drive, at least for the time being, but Brandon Mefford closing in. Even though Zach Millett applying pressure to the 83. Brandon up the racetrack. Millett just about a nose to the inside, but is unable to keep it there. Now we got a battle for the top spot. Chris Mefford under attack. Brandon Mefford coming into the fray here, taking an opportunity here, looks to the outside, but now Millett taking a peek down low on the 83 off of turn number 2. Nothing doing there. Tucks back in behind. Real loose is the 83 out of turn 2. Spends the whole back straightaway trying to straighten the car out. Top 4 under a blanket off turn number 4. We talked to Brian McCann during the caution break. Had to get the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap, and look where he's at. Back in P5, just ahead of Mike Fahey here with less than 10 laps to go. Millett taking a peek to the inside on Brandon Mefford. Brandon taking a look to the inside of Chris Mefford off of 4. Nothing doing for either of the drivers. Top 3 unchanged, 8 laps to go. It's Mefford, Millett, Hewitt, McCann, the top 5. On board with Chris Mefford, coming to 7 laps to go. Oh, Brandon Mefford gets a piece of the wall. Millett takes evasive action. So does Chris Mefford. Mefford gets into the wall. Both of them. Zach Millett unable to capitalize on it. Millett drove it down to the inside, thinking 83 of Brandon Mefford was in big trouble. Both Meffords getting into the fence here late in this race. We've got 6 laps to go. Top 3 unchanged, but here comes Will Hewitt as well. Just about a half car length off the back bumper of Zach Millett. Back into turn 3. Brandon Mefford maintains the second spot. I think he might be a tick faster than the race leader. Just catching him and passing him are 2 different things. We're going to have to see how that plays out. Will Hewitt certainly no short of aggression there in the 4th position. He gets a nose alongside Zach Millett off of turn number 2, tucks back in behind, real loose down the straightaway, just trying to apply the power to that race car. 5, now 4 laps to go at the stripe. Chris Mefford ahead of brother Brandon Mefford, then Zach Millett, Will Hewitt, and Brian McCann. Now to the inside, Brandon drives it down alongside the brother 46. Chris Mefford up the racetrack, still maintains the top spot. Mefford again taking a chance, looking to the bottom of the racetrack. On board with the 46, alongside Brandon Mefford. Chris gets the run out of turn 4, but Brandon's going to go back after it again into 1. Oh, might have been a little bit of contact on exit. And Zach Millett going for the lead, 3 wide. They bang fenders door to door off turn number 4. Brandon Mefford goes to the point. Chris Mefford loses the race lead and he turns it hard down the racetrack. I think that was an attempted of a dump. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like that was a hard left turn to the right rear of Zach Millett as Chris Mefford gets the fence down the straightaway. Brandon Mefford goes to the point, 2 laps to go, 3 wide battle for the second spot. Will Hewitt, Millett, and Chris Mefford, Brian McCann in the mix. The white flag is in the air. Final lap from Richmond. Brandon Mefford with the race lead. We'll continue to watch this battle for the second spot. Off turn number 2, Will Hewitt looking to the inside. Chris Mefford in the fence again, down into 3 and 4. Brandon Mefford through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag waving, and we're 4 wide for the finish in the second spot across the stripe. I have no idea who finished where. Unbelievable finish from the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. It looks like unofficially Brandon Mefford with the race win. Chris Mefford 2nd, Zach Millett 3rd, Will Hewitt 4th, and Brian McCann finishing in the 5th position. Woo! Have you ever? Brandon Mefford picking up the race win. Brandon Mefford certainly a happy camper here at start finish at Richmond Raceway. We're going to jump out, get our final break out of the way, be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Again, stay with us post interviews. We're going to do another edition of the Ken Squire tribute we did pre-race. Stay with us for that. Certainly very touching. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Millett might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Back at Richmond Raceway, race number 7 of the Noble Racing Series in the books, and Brandon Mefford taking it to victory lane here tonight in Virginia. Let's get a word with the driver of the number 83, see how he feels about it. Brandon, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations, man. A very strong run in the latter stages of tonight's race, holding off your brother and Zach Millett. Walk us through the final stages of this race, man, and how you managed to hold those guys off.
First of all, I want to give credit to my brother. He told me a little something there about halfway through the race, and it really helped me. I don't know if you guys noticed, we changed lanes down there in 3 and 4 and had a lot of drive off, so thanks to him. But yeah, man, I'll just be honest. Brian pitted early, and we were praying for a caution, because I knew if he got out front, he was going to be hard to beat. And then that caution came. It was just timely as could be. And then that last restart, I think my brother got underneath Zach, and those two made a little bit of contact. I don't know if it hurt either one of them, but I was able to make a run on Zach, get by him. And then I was working really hard on my brother. He said his right rear was burned up. And so I wasn't going to wreck him. I probably got close there on the front stretch a few times, but man, I wanted to get to his bumper if I needed to, but I wanted that one real bad. I love this racetrack, and I've never won here until tonight, so pretty excited.
Certainly fun race to watch. There was crazy action, just not even just for the race lead, but coming to the start-finish line on the final lap. I think the second, third, fourth, and fifth positions were 4 wide at the stripe. We'll have to go back and look at that one later, but you take home the checkered flag here tonight. An awesome victory for you, certainly. We got to look forward to the 3rd of December here, as we're going to take some time off before we get into Pocono Raceway. How do you feel about your shot out of the tricky triangle in this car?
It's going to be hard to keep up with these guys that are good on these, I'm going to call them road courses. So Zach and Brian and Chris and those guys are really good. That drives like a road course with the way the corners are to me. But I don't know. I seem to run pretty well there unless I get myself in trouble. So I plan on being in the top 5 there.
I mean, being a road course guy myself, I would have to agree with you. Pocono, even though it is technically all left turns, it's technically an oval / triangle, whatever. It does absolutely run like a road course. 3 different style corners. You got to kind of prepare yourself for each one independently. But then you got to worry about the draft, too. There's a lot of straightaway at these places. These cars certainly do put a bit of a hole in the air. So you think the draft is going to really come into play there as well?
Oh, definitely. You know, if you lose it, you're going to be falling backwards. So it's going to be key to stay in that draft, but, you know, not get too big a run getting down into 1. Seems to be the biggest killer there. So you get a big run down into 1, you end up overshooting the corner and taking yourself or somebody else out. So got to stay in the draft and keep her clean and keep the tires under you if you're going to be good there.
Certainly plenty of power to make up for those mistakes, but hopefully you don't make them. Congratulations again here tonight, Brandon, on the race win. A thrilling finish across the board, a strong run. You deserve this one. Congratulations, man. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Is glad to stoked to get a win there. Brian's been running really good, and Zach's been running really good. So glad to put myself up there with those guys in this league. I'm so proud of that. But shout out to Ken Squire and their families. Great broadcaster, longtime NASCAR guy. Hate to hear that we've lost a good one there, but you know, as we're getting older, we're starting to. These guys are getting up there, but prayers to his family and all that good stuff. We're gonna miss them. And then, you know, thanks to you for the broadcast. Everybody over here at Noble Racing Series puts on a great show. Tonight was another fantastic race. A few cautions. So thanks to the guys, shout out to them for always putting on a good show for you to call. All the sponsors that put the league on, I've drawn a blank here to all of them, but thanks to all of them guys. And then thanks to Spartan Logistics, Charity Motorsports, my team, Zoe's Place, Ellie's Place, Kids Talk, all those charities that we race for. Special shout out to my family for letting me get on here and do my thing on Sunday nights and get away from real life. And and again, thanks to all the fans out there watching. Give the stream a thumbs up. Steve does a great job, and he deserves every one of them that we can get.
Brandon, thanks for the kind words, man. Wish you the best of luck at the next race. Again, December 3rd here at HBR TV out of Pocono, man. Nice job.
Thanks, Steve. We'll see you then.
Brandon Mefford, your race winner here from Richmond Raceway. We're going to talk to brother Chris here in just a minute. I don't know if his advice is what cost him the race win or not, but we're going to find out. Chris Mefford, the driver of the number 46. It's Steve in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Chris, congratulations, man. A runner-up finish here at Richmond. What a hellacious finish coming to the start-finish line. Let's back it up a bit, though. Brother Brandon says you gave him a little bit of advice through 3 and 4 as the race was about halfway, and it really paid off for him. Are you regretting that decision?
Yes and no. I'm just glad to see, somebody from Charity Motorsports get the win. Brian and Zach have been killing it on here, and as you see, top 5 for them guys. It was just running a little higher there in 3 and 4. It was helping the right rear coming off, so it was keeping it a little cooler, keeping more grip going down the straightaway, and it seemed to be off in the longer run.
Well, with that, you come home in the second position. It was a great battle to watch between yourself and Zach Millett. A little bit of contact a couple of times. It seemed to be just hard racing. How did it look from your stance in the cockpit of that number 46?
Oh, definitely hard racing. This car was slick. You could spin it out anywhere on the track if you wanted to. When I got in the lead, I couldn't really pull from them guys because I was racing Zach so hard for about 10 laps there and just destroyed the right rear. So the last 15 laps, I was literally sawing the wheel back and forth down the straightaway, just try not to wreck it. And on the backstretch, it just no room for error on that. So I hit the wall a couple times, but no, I got into 1 there, and the right rear was just so hot coming off 4. When I hit the brakes, it just really got loose, and I really chased it and got into Zach, but glad I didn't wreck him. I actually destroyed myself and everybody else behind me. So I was actually about a foot from the wall on the inside. So it was a heck of a finish. I mean, you have 4 guys almost within a tenth of a second of the finish. A pretty good job there.
Well, certainly very entertaining to watch. You guys battling out. The fast guys at the front of the field here, all within a few tenths of each other at the finish. And then, of course, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I got to go back and look at it, but I think you guys were all 4 wide at the start-finish line. Is that how I saw it? Did I see that right?
You're seeing that right. Seeing it 4 wide and me sitting at a 45-degree angle. So, no, I seen Zach's right front there. I'm like, man, I gotta really hit the gas. And I hit it, and it just started just coming around. I'm like, well, gonna have to chase it here. So I turned the wheel right a little bit and kept in the gas, and just a heck of a finish there. You couldn't really ask for much of a better finish unless it was for the win. But second place I have to do.
Well, we're taking a week off here, I think, here for the Thanksgiving holiday, so we'll be back at Pocono Raceway on December 3rd. First off, will you be able to make that race at Pocono Raceway? And if so, how do you feel about your chances out there in the Tricky Triangle?
It's always a toss-up if I make it or not. I definitely took a real long break from iRacing after our last seasons. Just had a lot of racing. I raced like 3 or 4 times a week. I really took away from the family time, so I'm slowly getting back into it. Like I told Brandon, I don't want to really commit myself on something, but I still want to come out and try to have some fun and not ruin anybody's race. But as for Pocono, I think you'll have Zach and Brian really up there at top. Pocono is, yes, it's all left-handers, but there's 3 different turns. I mean, just like a road course, 3 different turns. Your braking points got to be precise. These things being loose, I want to say it's going to be hectic through the tunnel turn and off turn 3 there. So it's going to be a well of a battle between probably those 2, and hopefully I can stick my nose in there and mix things up.
Well, we hope to see you out there in a couple of weeks, Chris. Again, congratulations on the 2nd place finish here tonight. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you get going?
Yep, we just want to say prayers to Ken Squire's family. We definitely lost one of the greatest commentators of our generation. So, what's so great about it is that he set the stage, the bar is so high. Probably for people like you, and even up in NASCAR, he sets it so high. Him and Ned Jarrett is just unreal. So I want to shout out to prayers for his family and all his loved ones. He's definitely be missed. Then I thank you, Steve, for the broadcast, all the admins here at Noble. I know we're not the best group to get along with, but we're definitely some hard-nosed redneck racers, and we definitely basically leave it all on the track. So thanks to them guys. Congrats to Brandon on that win. Congrats to Zach on that second place. Thanks for not dumping me. I know we've had our run-ins the past couple seasons, but I think all in all, it's just really, really hard racing. Two hard-head guys going at it. So it's always fun to race against Zach, Brian, Brandon, and Will, all these other guys. Shout out to our charity motorsports, my teammates, Spartan Logistics, 5-Star Graphics, R&R Racewear, and all the causes we race for.
Well, I'm telling you right now, Chris, don't go anywhere. We want you guys here watching those battles here late. That's what makes this league so fun to be a part of. So yeah, aggression, not a bad thing. So we're looking forward to more of that here as we roll into Pocono Raceway here in a couple of weeks. Again, Chris, congratulations. Runner-up finish here at Richmond. Good luck at the next one.
Thanks, Steve.
Chris Mefford, your runner-up here at Richmond Raceway. Next, we're going to talk to Zach Millett, our third-place finisher. See what he has to say. I'll pull him up in the broadcast booth. Zach, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
Hey, Steve. What's up, buddy?
I'm still trying to catch my breath. It's been a few minutes since this thing wrapped up, but wow, what a finish. Unfortunately, for your sake, you didn't end up with the victory here, but a top-3 finish and a thrilling one at that. 4 wide coming to the start-finish line. Walk us through those final couple laps.
Pure chaos, Steve. Just pure chaos. Everybody going for the same real estate. Laps clicking away. I mean, it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of close calls between Chris and I, and we talked into the green room real briefly, and it was just all racing incidents. Yeah, there was one time I was right reared into one, and it was just a gift. I just yanked it left and hoped for the best, and somehow caught it. But I got to thank Will Hewitt, man. There was 2 or 3 times where he was, we were all getting into each other up there, and he gave us a lot of room, a lot of extra room that he didn't have to do. So big thanks to him.
We continue to watch the start-finish line, the actual finish here at the checkered flag with you guys. Unbelievable. We'll watch it again here if you want to pull it up here. We've got it running live here. Why don't you walk us through that one here as they come to the start-finish line. We're entering turn number 3 as we watch it currently. Again, Chris Mefford was with the race lead. This is the final lap coming to the checkers. Mefford into 3, real deep into the corner, slides it up the track. You get alongside Will Hewitt here, and then it looks like Brian McCann's going to pull alongside as well. And here we have it, the 4-wide finish for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th positions. What was it on your perspective? What did you know? What did you not know?
Basically, I was just looking left to see where Will was, and I knew he washed up a little bit, and right here, you just can't get the power down. I mean, you can see the start-finish line. You know you're 3-4 wide, and the harder you push the pedal, the less grip you have, and I mean, you're kind of feathering it, as ironic as it is, But we're lucky to get 3rd there, man.
It was a crazy finish. We rode on board with you a number of times here tonight. We did hear you kind of feathering that throttle on corner exit, more so out of 4 than anywhere else. Again, that's not to anybody's surprise that's ever turned a lap here at Richmond Raceway, whether it's in a Gen 4 Cup car or even the trucks. We do run into that. It's very difficult to get the power down to the racetrack. We did witness that quite a bit. A couple of weeks, we're going to go back racing here. We're going to take a week off for the Thanksgiving holiday. Zach, Pocono Raceway, I know you like that place. Will you be here for it? I know your work schedule kind of throws a curveball into the mix. Are you going to be able to make it here in a couple of weeks?
As of right now, Steve, I'm supposed to work a double that day. I'm going to try to scam out of it, as always, but it's too early to tell. We'll try, though, because I do love that place.
Fair enough, Zach. Again, congratulations on a solid top 3 finish here. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I got to thank you, Steve, and HBR TV, HBRShops.com, HBRTV1.com. Got to thank Noble and Right Turn Racing, all the guys behind the admins that really keep us in line here. They do a lot of work, and it shows. It's a lot of fun to race this every week. I got to thank Track Bar Media, Eric Dotson, State Farm, Castle Packs Power. And shoot me a follow over on Twitch at ThatS4Guy.
All right, Zach, thanks for talking to us. Hopefully you can scam your way out of that, and we'll see you at Pocono in a couple of weeks, man.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millett, your third place finisher. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 finishers already. Brandon Mefford, Chris Mefford, Zach Millett, your top 3. Will Hewitt was 4th. Brian McCann, 5th. Mike Fahey had a front row seat to that crazy finish. He finishes 6th. Mike Tucker finishes in the 7th spot. 8th was Drew Prowl. Keaton Burnett, a solid top 10 in the 9th spot. Ken Couch, also the same. In the 10th position, Chris Goins was 11th. Vincent Short comes home 12th. Matt Kopp, 13th. Jesse Redding, 14th. 15th finisher was Doug Wysocki. Drew Blaze, 16th. 17th finisher was Alan DeFries. Matt Sisler comes home in the 18th spot. Joe Tucker, 19th. Eddie Rose was 20th. Neil Quick finishes 21st, 3 laps down. Mark Truxell, 22nd. And Larry Bruner, 137 laps down. Exited this one early here, finishes 23rd. It's your race results here from Richmond Raceway. Once again, before we get out of here, we're going to dump it to another airing of the Ken Squire tribute. Again, losing Ken Squire this past Wednesday, an icon of the sport, the voice of NASCAR. Honest to God, I don't think NASCAR would be where it is today without the voice and the foresight of Ken Squire. The 1979 Daytona 500 being aired live, that was a major, major contribution from Ken Squire to get us to that point, and the sport took off from there. And that's all you can really say about it. There's not a broadcaster in the business that hasn't looked to Ken Squire and how he did things and how he painted the picture of these races each and every week when he was up in the broadcast booth. Myself included, I try my best to pattern myself after guys like Ken Squire, like Dave Moody, Mike Bagley, those guys at MRN, Mike Joy, and the like. There's so many more. I try to do my best by them. When I'm sitting here behind this microphone, try to bring it to you the best that I can. And it's thanks to guys like Ken Squire that I do it just that way. So we're going to jump to that right now, guys. Thank you again all for watching. Please tune in a couple of weeks. Happy Thanksgiving. It's going to be a couple of weeks before we're back here. December 3rd, of course, at HBR TV at Pocono Raceway. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a good night.
Ken Squire always described racing as common people doing uncommon deeds.
But it was Squire's dulcet tones and indelible descriptions that ensured NASCAR's best moments were remembered with reverence.
We're here at Brooklyn, Michigan this afternoon. I'm Ken Squire.
When future historians write about the wonders of the world, save at least one chapter for this.
From his family's humble beginnings at Radio Free Vermont nearly a century ago, Squire began calling sprint car and midget races in the back of a lumber truck as a teenager. By 25, he had helped build the famous Thunder Road International Speed Bowl that remains his native state's racing showplace, with its famous Milk Bowl event featured every fall.
Squire's eyes turned southward, and he headed to Daytona Beach to become one of Bill France's missionaries, spreading the gospel of stock car racing, starting as a track announcer at Daytona International Speedway. But Squire's calling was broadcasting. After co-founding the Motor Racing Network in 1970, Squire spearheaded NASCAR's first nationally televised race from Greenville, South Carolina in 1971 on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
There is Victory Lane. Ken Squire is down there. I can't see whether he has Bobby Isaac with him. Okay, Ken, go ahead.
Victory Lane, and it is a harmonious group around Bobby Isaac.
8 years later on CBS, he handled play-by-play for the first live flag-to-flag Daytona 500, which included the first ever in-car camera that Squire helped champion.
Into turn 3 and 4 at over 195 miles an hour. You're riding with Benny Parsons.
But what many remember is the greatest finish in NASCAR history. It was punctuated by Squire's call. And there's a fight.
And there's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing.
His voice was a soundtrack to many momentous events in NASCAR. Whether Petty versus Pearson,
as they come to the stripe, the winner is car number 21.
Or the first victory by Jeff Gordon in the 1994 Coca-Cola 600.
And it is Jeff Gordon victorious on this Memorial Weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And in 1998, interviewing Dale Earnhardt Sr. in his greatest moment.
2 decades he's waited for this moment, and it's here. How about that ride?
How about it?
Squire coined the Great American Race
The Great American Race, the Daytona 500.
and the Alabama game.
The Alabama game.
But it was his contextualization that made the sport so fun and relatable to every fan.
And look at that Oklahoma land rush back there. Slingshot. 2 of the greatest fiddling here, fidgeting with first place.
When he returned in 2015 at Darlington Raceway with my dad and myself, Squire still had it.
At the cradle of American superspeedway racing, Darlington, South Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, you have a race.
It's that salesmanship that put Squire in the Hall of Fame twice, including a media award annually given in his and Barney Hall's honor.
And now they've added a storyteller. And believe me, I can tell some stories.
The voice of NASCAR may be gone, but his words will resonate forever.